All right. Thank you, Kate, and thank you everyone for showing up today. It means a lot to us. So Kunstmatrix is a virtual platform that you can present exhibitions on. And maneuvering around the exhibition of 108 works of art and 2 videos by 45 artists is fairly straightforward and intuitive. Kunstmatrix is a platform that allows one to create virtual exhibitions, and this exhibition fills 3 galleries of amazing visionary, spiritual, intuitive, and surreal works of art. The scope is engaging and impressive. Simple directions. For best viewing, Kunstmatrix suggests using Firefox or Chrome. I am on Safari right now and I have no problems as your browser. Once you receive the link, enter the portal's exhibition. There is a round white button with black horizontal lines top right. Click on that first. This allows you to select from several options such as enter full screen, back to start, start tour, etc. The tour allows you to sit back and enjoy the exhibition. It moves at a slow pace on its own. The tour can be stopped at any time, should you want to have a longer look, or if you choose, you can move in any direction. Those buttons can also be held down, which allows you to jump from one location to another. You have the ability to pause the tour and click on another button at the top that gives you the title of the work and other information such as the artist's name. That's it in a nutshell. We hope that all of you enjoy the exhibition. Thank you for joining us. So please lift your glass to congratulate all of the artists. And here we go.
So we're going to take about 3 minutes. I'll be playing some music, and it's a time to move more deeply, bring our attention to this great blessing that we have to be gathering together and to be deeply witnessing the incredible visions of our collective.
Thank you so much, Deborah. That was beautiful. Greetings and welcome to the Society for Art of Imagination's Portals exhibition. My name, as many or most of you know, is Franz Garrido, and we are very excited to present to you our first virtual exhibition for AOI in 2022. I want to thank my partners in crime, Olga Spiegel and Miguel Tio, for their devotion and sensibility for decades of commitment to the Society. We all worked outside of the box to make this all happen. Also, a big thank you to Kate Pepin for her guidance and expertise on the tech end. And also a thank you goes again to Deborah Koff-Chapin for such a beautiful opening. Special thanks to Bridget Marlin for her vision and devotion of the fostering of visionary and spiritual art.
This exhibition is in honor of Bridget Marlin, founder of the society, as everybody knows. So we created a gallery with her work.
That's me and Ernst. I met his work when I was 18. I was in Paris, and I thought, this man has shown me my direction, because I wanted to be realistic and yet at the same time express my inner emotions. And he did it. And I thought, I've got to study with him. So at 18, I made a vow that one day I would meet him and study with him. And it wasn't until I was 30 and had 3 little kids that I got, and they had mumps too, but I got a babysitter and my husband looked after them in the weekends. And I got to go to him and I learned the technique, which was a marvelous experience. Look, there's his picture, and that's, oh, look, that's good. This is Moses and the Burning Bush, which is really amazing. Look at the technique. And so that's the one I kind of fell in love with it, because he had an exhibition in London when I was 25 and married, and I went there, and that reinforced my vow that I would go and study with him. But look at the delicacy of the technique. And there's tears here, and there's Moses and the burning bushes just come over the whole world there, Anyway, it was very beautiful. And then when I met him, he was so amazing. He was immediately so welcoming and so generously sharing his technique. And in fact, there's a book coming out in August the 18th, the date is, and it's all about meeting with him and the technique and all the Dutch masters, which he got his technique from. He researched it for 50 years of his life, and it's fantastic. Shall we move? Oh yeah, good. Okay, there's another of his work. Look at the way he does these strange robes. And this is called something like the Dialogue of the Gods. And there's Saint Stephen with arrows in him. And he wasn't very fond of bishops at that time. Later on, he became a Catholic, actually. There he's got this. What I loved is the robe, which looked so decayed and kind of weird. I mean, I just loved the way he could transform things and they become something else strange and quite beautiful, really. Yeah. The next one. Oh, yeah, good. Oh, then we arranged a big exhibition with, what's his name? I'm getting old.
Giger.
Giger, H.R. Giger. And this is a chair made of kind of impressions of bones, a pelvis, and all this kind of stuff. And famous people sit in this chair and he stands by. And I was very honored to be told to sit in the chair, and the photograph was taken of standing by. We had an exhibition in his museum. This is another of his works, yeah. Always a little bit, shall we say, morbid. Yeah. I'm afraid his wife fought with him terribly, and one day, I'm afraid she shot herself, and he came home to all this, and the police came to arrest him. They thought he'd murdered her. And thank God they found a note, a suicide note, because otherwise he would have been in prison for the rest of his life. It's strange. That looks like me. This where one of the things the society did in order that we had to be a charity, and one of my wonderful, I wish I could, can I show our lady this one? Look, see, I did her portrait and we kind of fell in love because she was in her 80s and I was in my 50s, and I was like a daughter to her. She never had children. But then I said about our society, and she said that if we became a charity, she would give us money because people get tax-free things. So she took us to a lawyer, and we became an American Society for Art of Imagination. And we got a lot of money from Ginny every year, $10,000. And there I am in Africa, helping the African kids, teaching them to paint and so on. Oh yeah, that's my picture of my sister's little girl. And she's wearing her first party dress and she's terribly excited. It's the first time she's, you can see dawning the feminine love of clothes and being a princess. And it's called the golden cord because it leads to this magic castle. You see, the doors are opening to a new magic. Click. Oh, yes, this is my painting in my living room. And it's about reforming the church because I'm still a Catholic, but a lot of the time there's this corruption everywhere. I mean, I don't say it's only in the Catholic Church, but certainly part of this is this corruption. There you have the spirit of the church wounded, and then it's only the young people that can reform it. So it's called the reforming of the church. Oh, this one is about, it's about seeking a spiritual path, because I found that although I was officially a Catholic, I needed to, I think now we're all called on to follow an individual way toward the divine. And so the desert is the desert of unknowing. And the water there, that's a whole seascape, because water symbolizes truth. And here you have the opposites, black and white, and they're like coffins or boxes. And here it's called the rod because this actually is a rainbow, though you can't see it very well. And it's also a rod stretching from heaven down to us. And so to get the answer, you have to turn around and walk toward the truth. And by the way, this is done in Kuwait, and all these are buried cars, because when a lot of the Arabs, they buy a car and then they drive it through the sand, and when it won't work anymore, they just leave it and the wind blows the sand over it. So it's rather strange. And these are all oil factories. Oh, this is when I was told I was going blind, which was rather scary. But actually, I got a very good surgeon, and he found I had cataracts stuck to the lens and stuck to the membrane. And I think only he could have done. He was the best eye surgeon in London. And so I was able to see again. But I did this when I thought I was going blind. So that's why it's a bit mournful. This is really an idea of that although I think there's a general feeling that the churches are losing their power, that they haven't got, when you look at the past, people in the past were either they were Christian or they were, whatever. Churches were very important. And now it seems that the churches are floating away, and people have to find, in a way, they're a bit bereft, because they have to find their own way toward God. It is the time of the individual search for God, I believe. Oh, and this is, my mom died, and that made a big impression on me. So there's Mother well, Mother Spirit walking. And you see, even though she was a very convinced member of the church, you see here, that I realized that you have to undergo death, that it isn't an easy passage, that it's a struggle. And I kept making that doorway blacker and blacker till I scared myself. But it is true that no matter how we're made, we still, undergoing death it's an unknown and maybe frightening experience. But as I get older, I'm not so frightened anymore. I don't know why. Hopeful. There's a Dalai Lama. How I loved him. I decided I must paint him. And I was able to get an appointment for him. And they only gave me 40 minutes. And so I had, 40 minutes doing a portrait of the dog. And actually, I started to cry when they said I had to go away. And the Dalai Lama told the official who was telling me to get out, he said, wait a minute. And he talked to him in Tibetan. And the official was furious. He sort of flounced out. And what had happened was the Dalai Lama said, all the people that were that had appointments to see him, he told them, if would they agree that I would sit there and paint him while they had their meeting? And so I had the whole afternoon. And then afterward, I thanked him, and he gave me a great bear hug from the Dalai Lama. I can't tell you how nice it was. It was a high point of my life because he was such a wonderful man, an absolutely wonderful guy, so loving. Oh, and this is a bit of a sad one. My son was highly epileptic, and then later on in teenage, he became schizophrenic, and he was a very unhappy boy. And you can see in this, I didn't do that till after he died, but he took his own life when he was 21. And then I painted out some of the sad bits of his life. Oh, this is a fun one. This is nymph and satyr. I was actually photographing the girl to do her as a nymph, and then this friend of hers came along and grabbed her shoulders, and I couldn't resist it. It was so funny to pop him in and call him a satyr. I put a horn on him as well. He was, you might call, horny. Okay. Oh, this is my son. This is a big one. And he's asking his fortune. And my mom had sent a pack of tarot cards, and I started sort of messing about with them. I got interested, and unfortunately, a lot of things came true. So I stopped. I got very superstitious and stopped using the cards. And but my son was 12, and the idea is all these things have meaning. Each card has a meaning, and so there's the sword represents fate. So this friend of mine, Sita, represents fate. And this other lady, she represents the world, you see, the spinning world and all the elements in it. And he's asking his fortune. And then look, these are like the Twin Towers, but it was long before they happened. And this is the New Jerusalem. So it's been an extraordinary painting, right? Next. Okay, this is the springtime. I love springtime, always painting it. And so that's just what it is. Next. Is that it? Yeah. Oh, my tree. Oh, yeah, this one was done when it was again spring. I can never resist spring. And this was done in a convent garden, and the tree seemed to be sort of saintly. And look, there's all the petals forming a sort of downward halo around the tree. Oh, yes. This one is toward the end of my marriage. And so it's a bit sad because all the roses, that tree never flowered again. It was, you know how when rose trees die, they sometimes put out all their magnificence, and I painted it, and I painted the idea of the young love and then the death of the marriage. So it's a bit sad. Right?
So we have We have some photographs. I'll just go
Oh,
through.
yeah, that's me and Ernst having a fun together. And that's me showing off my pictures as usual. Right? Oh, this is an exhibition we had. I'm sure there's Olga. Now, where are you, Franco? There's Miguel. Yeah, and I've put my own, used to make my jackets, and then I had to give a speech, and no one told me I had to give a speech. So I went behind to the ladies' room and tried to think what I was going to say. Oh yeah, this is more of a, there's Ike. Poor Ike is now not with us anymore, gone to a better place.
This is Les.
Les Barani.
That's me and Ike.
Les Barani.
Les.
Oh, it's Les Barani. He's also gone. As you get to 86, more and more people you know have gone. Now this is a nice one because everybody's alive. What a lovely pair of people we are. Yeah, this is in the restaurant, I think.
This is Constantine.
It could be. No, I think it's isn't it a restaurant, or
At Olga's.
That's Olga's place, and it's Constantine Vas.
Ah, right. Good old Constantine. He gave us lots of exhibitions, didn't he? Lovely guy. Okay. Oh, that's that looks, is that
This is Faustino. This is at QCC Gallery.
Okay, right, all right. But I'm there.
Yep. We were hanging the show.
Okay. Right. Have we got time for me to show our benefactors?
Yes.
Just quickly. So this is Ginny. And when she heard that we were doing charity and stuff, and so, and she paid $5,000 to get us a charity from Chicago. And till she died, she paid us $10,000 a year. So we are very grateful to that. And then we have a glamour book, Anne Oistrecker. And she's very glamorous, as you see. And she was married in Hollywood, and she knew the Nixons, you know, ex-President Nixon and all the family. And then she came to New York, divorced, and, you know, about to sort of give up on life. And then she met Mr. Oistrecker, who wasn't short of a shilling, as we say in England. And he collected Picassos and Utrillos and God knows what. And she said, because he had died, and she said, I'm going to collect living artists. And she collected me, hooray. And other living artists. So we had a lovely time. And then when she died, she left us, I think, $35,000, but we seem to get through them quite quickly.
Thank you so much, Bruce.
So remember Anne Oistrecker and Ginny Rogers, because they're our big benefactors. Hooray for Ginny and Anne. Okay. I think that's me done.
Okay, Miguel.
So I guess we are going through from the beginning of the exhibition.
Yes, let me.
I forgot to say there is a video that Olga Spiegel has made through many years ago of also Bridget talking about her work. It's on her gallery, so it's like 8-minute video, so anybody can look at it and watch the video later. I don't think we're going to go through the video because of time, but it's in Bridget Gallery. The last part is a video that Olga made.
Just give me 1 second to get back to the beginning.
Really interesting video, by the way.
I was able to watch the video as you were preparing this reception, and it really is interesting to see, Olga, how this organization came to be and your history, learning this technique, and it was just really wonderful to watch.
And now we have the S. This work is Time Passage from the time portal period, 1979. The next work is from the Search period, it's 1960, 1970. And the last work of DS is from the Neolithic period, which is since 2015. Now the work of Joanne Saint-Cyr, The Message. Next work is Crossroad from Joanne. And the last work of Joanne Saint-Cyr is Flower of Life. Next artist is Eric Heinig. Psychopompus is his work. And his next work is Mer Clausen. The next artist is Carrie Ann Babel. Anti-Vanitas is the title of this work. Next work is Queen of Heaven. And the next work of Carrie Ann Babel is Angel Face. Next artist is Irene Vincent, Awakening of the at Dawn. The next work is Animal Spirit Rising from Irene Vincent. On this wall, we have Mildred K. Horizon. We have Sarah Kushwara, Waiting. And another work from Mildred K. Prometheus. Stephanie Catherine Watson, In Between the Shelters of Love and War, She Returned. The work of Otto Rapp, The Surrogate Mother, Goddess of Wisdom, Holding After Ego, Baby Bogomil. Next work is Pablo's Last.
Oops, sorry.
Next work from Otto, Pablo's Last Concert. And from Otto, Bogomil's Avatar. And now we have Christina Lassa, which is a speaker tonight. As Christina will talk about her work.
Hi, everybody. So nice to be here. Thank you. So I've got 3 pieces and all 3 kind of deal with the idea of portals in different ways. My work tends to be an intersection between ideas from world mythologies to the occult to kind of contemporary culture and visionary spirituality. So this is a piece where she's gazing into her crystal ball, but the hieroglyphs kind of tend to be a nod to the antiquity of this practice and kind of the antiquity of reaching out to the spiritual realms as old as time. You could go to the next piece. So this one's called the Wheel of Fortune. It's taken after the Tarot de Marseille, the Marseille Tarot Wheel of Fortune card. So on that card is a wheel with these kind of unidentifiable beasts spinning around. And the wheel was often turned in art in those days by either the devil or Fortuna. So this is just kind of moving on its own. So the snake at the bottom of the piece is leading us in, the snake of wisdom or knowledge is leading us into this kind of otherworldly scene where this wheel is constantly turning on its own. The top is full manifestation. where we are, literally at the top of our game. But as it goes down towards the left, that figure is dematerializing, kind of, becoming from something through kind of dissecting itself, becoming nothing. And the very bottom of the wheel is total dissolution and void. And then from the void, we rise again, kind of becoming something again as we're back on the wheel to manifestation. So this is kind of this idea that the only constant is change. So you get the Wheel of Fortune card. It's usually a good thing, but it's one of those where you can just count on the fact that whatever it is, it's going to be different soon. Next piece, please. And this one is it's called The Alchemy of God. The figure on the left is kind of a figure I call the history of God, and it's symbolism and beings and ideas that have been kind of couched in the divine through mythologies, kind of through the, since the dawn of time, as it were. And that figure is separated thinly, kind of that blue glaze, that blue field that kind of runs through the painting is separated thinly from what's in the background. And it's hard to see here, but if you look closely at the piece, those are all numbers and theorems and equations and ideas that then kind of cycle out as like a ripple in the water, cycle out to the edge, where those are Calabi-Yau shapes. Those are shapes from the current idea of string theory. And the fiddleheads are tuning this idea of science, of math, so that these realities that they describe, kind of the capital R reality, are not exactly the same thing. And you can find your own reality, much like Bridget was saying, kind of through your own personal investigation, but with both of these ideas in mind rather than one or the other, and brings you the full picture rather than just focusing on the one. So those are my three pieces. I super appreciate the opportunity to talk about them. And Miguel, I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. And the next piece is from Shirley Iris, and Shirley is one of our speakers.
Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here. Thank you so much to everyone for doing what you do. My painting, Green Goddess of New Growth, is a celebration of the connection of the sacred feminine to the earth. Here we see her growing and extending her new leaves and shedding the dead. Her form twists and turns up into the sky, symbolizing as above, so below. An egg-shaped cave is the base of her form. She is connected to all four elements of the earth and pulled up by spirit. She is renewed. Here's a poem I wrote that I'd like to share about the theme of the painting. It's a blessing for the beginning of all creative and healing ventures. It's called The Beginning. Hand me your tools and unbind your hands. Lay your body onto the earth and hear my whisper. The wandering eyes inside your head are the only tools you need. You are not your products, your process, or your prey. When there is no surface, no measure of tone, no light to expand, creation still dances through the veil. Be this an accident, a precise stroke, color blindness, or a masterpiece. The cool light atop warm shadows, the surrealism of our existence, the thrash of fear. These are all the essence of divine light, waiting to be stroked, tickled, and labored. You are living art, creation of flesh and sight of the spirit. Dance with your fears, but dance with purpose. The river is rolling, the fire is dancing, the wind is blowing, and the earth is blossoming. Dance in the center with nothing. Raise your eyes up and breathe. Cheers, everyone. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you, Shirley. And now we have the work of Tom Farrell, Mama Vision. And his next work is Beyond. Done. And the last work of Don Farrell is Transformation Window. And now we have the work of Liva wiring. This one is Embrace the Jungle. The Living Painting. This is from Liva. And her last work, The Wheel of Recreation. And we have the work of Jantem Broik, 10th Art, 1997. That's the title. Yeah. And the next one is 10th Art 2000. Next artist is Gaia Orion, Soulmate. Della Burford, Transformation Storyteller. And we have Carol Espicusa, which is going to talk about her work.
Hello, everybody. The focus of my work is modern mythology and our value system. Each period in history has its defining myth, and these myths evolve over the millennia. The myths forever transform as they must to meet our every changing psychic needs. And according to analytical psychology, a new myth is in the process of evolving. A myth that would provide us a sort of blueprint for our future lives and convey a new understanding of ourselves, revealing new modes of behavior that anticipate the qualities needed to meet life in the centuries to come. But before these myths become stories, they exist simply as images in the unconscious. And for this reason, the artist is in a unique position to be the first to perceive these new trends within the psyche. My paintings are a portrayal of these images as they present themselves to me and to my collectors, mostly through dreams. Through dreams, we get hints as to the nature of this evolving myth. This painting you're looking at is called the Melusina. Here an entity appears, partly human and partly fish or serpent. And she seems to point to some aspect of the feminine that seeks transformation. Could you show my next one, Miguel? In this image called Doppler Effect, a figure contemplates the contents of a holy well. Something's coming up from the depths. And inner figures stand on the edges of the well, ready to aid in his understanding of this something. These are the mysteries that my art would explore. Thank you, Miguel.
Thank you. And now we have the work of Mark Henson, Well of Souls. The next work of Mark Henson is Sylvan Serenity. And Lost Horizon. Martina Hoffman, The Blessing. The next work of Martina Hoffman is The Garden. And Deborah Koff Chapin, which is going to demo and speak about her work.
And that's great. Hi. So I'm going to demonstrate the process. I'm really taken watching how the depth of symbology in this approach to visionary art. And I've always felt a little bit different, which is why I wasn't sure if I sort of belonged in this setting, because my work is more, the word was coming, it's more somatic than symbolic. And it's like the Zen painting of visionary art. It's not layered and pre-planned. It just emerges in the moment. And I'm going to demonstrate those two faces that you saw were selections from my portals. Actually, they're called portals, the portals of presence. And just going to make this so you can see. There we go. So I have ink on the board already rolled out. I'm using thinner paper than I do in my work generally, but let's see. So everywhere I touch the paper, the marks are formed. So they're all created through the touch of my fingertips. And I never know when I'm drawing the faces, it's the place that I connect with the subtle realms and subtle presence. And it's like I am translating a presence into the language of the human face. So whatever's happening right now, I'm watching it, I'm paying attention to my inner sensations and trying to translate them onto the paper. And this is a very specific being, and that's all of those other faces called the portals. They were created in a lot of sacred sites, Shard Cathedral. The second one he showed was created in Roslyn Chapel, where I did a retreat. So they're also translating the presence of sacred places and ancient trees out in nature. So there you go. So thank you. Wonderful to share with you.
Really wonderful. Thank you. Now we have the work of Anthony Santella, yes, La Buota. And the work of Jorge Ignacio Nazaval Cowan, Fuga and Variation, Fuga y Variaciones. Another work from Ignacio Nazaval, The Magic of Your Hand, La Magia de tu Mano. And the last work is Rediscovering the Sky, Redescubriendo el Cielo. The work of Breck Outland, Crepuscular Gateway, She Slipped to the Door. Next work is Exousia Maske, Strange, for John Hassel. And the last work is Rebis, The Nascent Egg. Now we have the work of Olga Spiegel, Who, What, Where. The next work is Fountain. And the last work of Olga is Space to Space. The work of Robert Schultes, Chaos in Paradise. Dreams. That will be the second work of Robert Schultes. And we have now James Porto, which is one of the speakers tonight.
Oh, hi, everybody. Well, the work so far has been unbelievable, and I'm honored to be speaking here with you. Thank you very much. I'm probably different from most of the artists here because I'm not a painter. I spent 45 years as a photographer, and even as a photographer, I was always trying to capture dreams and inner visions, but I was relying on real objects, real light, and photographic captures of them to make photo illustrations. And then in about 2015, I had a really profound visionary experience, and the images I saw in my mind, I was not able to translate into photography, which led me on a path to a new medium, which is 3D animation and also, in this case, fractal creation. So there's no camera used for this at all. It's all created inside the computer in a fractal program. And this one in particular, which is called The First Gate of Grief, was inspired when I basically was taking a beautiful bath and I was listening to the audiobook by Francis Weller, The Wild Edge of Sorrow. And he speaks about the first gate of grief. And my eyes were closed and I pictured something very similar to what you see here. But this fractal program is really difficult. It's really difficult to generate something specifically that you've pre-visualized. So right after the bath, I went downstairs, I went on the program, and I was able to somehow come up with an image that was so similar to what I saw in my mind and here it is. And also this is appears, I'm working on an animation right now where the camera slowly goes through this portal. So these images can easily be animated, and yeah, so this is my new medium and I'm totally excited about it. You can go to the next one, please. Here's another image from a fractal, but this is from an animation where the camera travels through all these portals. Maybe next time I'll show the animation, but it's really amazing. This is just a single frame, and it's kind of like, I call it Nest, or maybe a room with a view. But the program is able to create scenes from my imagination, which I could not do with the camera. So again, I'm very new with this program and with this exploration, but I'm thrilled to have a new medium at this tender age. And next one, please. So why don't you just play this with audio if you can. This one, I can talk about it while you're trying to get it to play. With these, fractal animations, I'm collaborating with different composers to create, where sometimes I'll present them with the fractal and they'll make music to it, which is what Aaron Jaffe did for this particular one. He's a composer in the New York City area, and we've collaborated on a bunch of these things. But yeah, so, and other times I get the music and I'm creating a fractal for that. I'm working on some of those at the moment too. And again, love to be with you guys. I've been a member of this society for probably 7 or 8 years, and I just love all the work that you guys create. I'm amazed by your painting abilities. Thank you.
Thank you, James. And for everyone's information, this is a beautiful experience. It's a very short video, but it's lovely music and amazing fractal images. So you'll have to go back and view it.
And we have the work of Laurie Lipton, Lockdown. The work is Feed from Laurie Lipton. And the last work of Laurie is Resurgent. Now the work of Gabriel Esau, The Wishing Table. Next work is Banquet of Shimmering Personalities from Gabriel Esau. Rick Simpson, Undone. From Rick Simpson, Chief of State. We have the work of Holly Bryce Master, Three Women on a Bridge. Work of Ricky Shaidi, Time is a Face on the Water. And the next work is Information Age. Ricky Shaidi. Sandra Stanton, Corvette. And Nico from Sandra Stanton. We have the work of Rosemary Stelik in Valley Ombre Mortis. Helen Russ Crawford, The Moon Portal. Lynn LaFontaine. Olga will introduce set the titles.
Renaître de ses cendres, le phénix intérieur. Next. Lumière issue des ténèbres. Vers une transfiguration.
And the work of Miguel Tio, Awakening. I know him, right? Angel Over the Olive Tree. And the last work is The Portal. The work of Franz Garrido, Intermingle. Matrix Portal. And last work of Franz Garrido, Release. Christopher Durand, Boy in the Blue. And we have Sorian, who is one of our speaker tonight.
Thank you so much, Miguel. I'm truly honored to participate in this exhibition along with such formidable artists. I'd like just to take a brief moment to talk about my art and the two paintings that I'm participating with. First and foremost, I'm fascinated about the domain of consciousness that I've been exploring throughout my art with long-term projects like Birth of Self, Evolution of Consciousness, Origins. For me, art has ignited from inside as another kind of language, like speaking of archetypes, of myths, the metaphors, of modes of thought, of this world and the vastness of consciousness. It's a language rooted in all my body and mind as a necessity, the one of expressing my visions and connecting to the world. I think that we are beauty makers and beauty seeders. We are meant to discover beauty because through it we are really free and we can connect to each other. So why art experience is so important to me is because we cannot leave the fundamental event in life, the transformative experience of love, without beauty and without being connected. Now going to the painting that you are showing, it's called Enki, and after the Lord Enki, also known as Ea, his name meaning the Lord of the Earth. Enki was actually the Sumerian god of wisdom and magic and healing and creation, and also fertility and art. And here is depicted as wearing a horn cap as he ascends the mountain of the sunrise. Streams are representations of fertility and is born to his wife Ninusag, the Sumerian mother goddess, also known as mother of gods and men, for a part in creating both divine and mortal entities. And the painting tells actually the story about the everlasting beauty and sacred nobility of a bloodline untamed by the weakness of doubt and fear. It's a story about the magnificent truth that lies deep within the spring of our life, buried under the mortal identity of our flesh. Actually, the sacred runs in our heart underneath its veil, brightening with this seductive fire our bond to create and love. So we have to live through its power to find how to heal and how to love, to feel its magic. If you can go to the next one, please. My next painting is called Undying. It's a painting about rebirth, about the emergence of an unified act of love and life, the most human of all, rising above the shadows and fears and through the voices of uncertainty. It's actually a story about being truly alive and harvesting the unending fire of our desire to materialize the vision of being one that reveals our path on this earth. Our beauty and our light carry in their fiber the meaning that matters the most for what is true and precious in our heart to become our reality. We are born from seeing each other, and we are fulfilled by receiving the other into ourselves. And what we build inside each other are the seeds from which our world is built in our image. This is a painting about love that does not die, about light that does not turn into darkness, because undying is our origins, and life matters, and light matters, and goodness matters, and love binds them actually all into us. So it's an invitation to let love define who we are. Thank you so much. I hand now over the presentation to you, Miguel.
Thank you, Sorian. And we have the work of Benny H.V. Anderson, Book of Life. And another work from Benny, The Source. Keeper of Dreams, Michael Coleman, Angel Portal, and Body, Mind, and Soul for the Enlightenment. Reading from the Book of Life, Michael Coleman. Then we have Bridget Schobert, The Dream. And Ariel Coming Back from Work. And now I think we've reached the end.
So Fran, you stopped sharing Kunstmatrix, and if you want to make me host again, we can go into some questions. If anyone has questions, I've been watching the chat and everyone is really very complimentary about the work that's been shown. It's really nice to see so much interest in it. And I did have a couple questions, if someone else has a question they want to start with. Well, if not, I'll ask a couple that did come in earlier. So Deborah, there is a question that came in for you about how you developed the touch drawing process. What got you started in that, and how did you come to develop that process?
I'll share the essence story. I was in art school in New York City in the early 70s and doing abstract work. There was an underlying search for something more natural. And there were things that led up to it that when I look back, I discovered there were seeds of this process. But it came to me in my last day of my last year in art school, which was kind of like cosmic timing. And a friend asked me to help clean up in the print shop. And instead of wiping with a paper towel, I moved my fingertips on the back of the inked plate and picked it up and saw these natural, organic marks coming from my fingertips. And what happened when I did that was like I got unplugged. Something about drawing directly with my open hands and through touch also opened me to this big, thunderous stream of energy and hysterical laughter. And so I just did like, I don't know how many, countless more touch drawings on paper towels. And what was, it was this joyful, pure sense of play and the purity of creating. And at the same time, a sense that it was a process that was meant for the future, and it wasn't just for me. It wasn't a personal technique. It was a kind of universal human creative process for the future. And I figured I'm supposed to share it. So I've been teaching the process ever since. And there was a moment of feeling like suspended between the handprints on the cave wall and some future where the hands are like expressing a more evolved and fluid consciousness. And that this process, which I didn't have a name for, and now I call it touch drawing, would be able to help us express a more fluid, moving consciousness. And so that's the nutshell of it. And my touchdrawing.com website has lots of information. I do online workshops now because for visionary artists, it could be a very free place to explore and to open to new images. So I have really felt, I love sharing it with you and invite any of you to try the process, because it can be a place where you don't have to have it all worked out and you can just open to the unknown, and you do a whole series of drawings in a sitting. So that fluid transformational process happens and something grows and changes during your drawing session. So thank you. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks
for sharing that. That is so important, I think, today to be able to tap into our essence and joy, and for you to be able to share that with us so vividly and in imagery. It was great. I have a couple more questions, and maybe Miguel or Francis can answer this. Do we need to be members to view the exhibition later on?
No.
No. After this session, I will make it live, and you can just go to Kunstmatrix and search for Portal exhibition, and you can view it at your own leisure.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I know Fran's been trying to figure out a way to show James's video.
I think I got it.
Did you? Oh, wonderful. Why don't you try sharing your screen again? I'll have to make you host again. And let's see if we can do that. Yes, I'll make you host, and then you can share your screen.
Not working, wrong one. Wait. James, I'm gonna get this.
But maybe James, while France is trying to do that, you might want to talk about What transitioned you from photography to these fractal videos?
Are these the fractal works?
Thank you very much. I know that was hard to figure out and get that up and
Well,
going again.
what happens is with Zoom, it drops frames. So it's really hard to show video on Zoom sometimes. You have to set it to high quality anyway. It's annoying.
Yeah,
so what you saw there was not really correct because it's very smooth. And there's, anyway, if you go to my Instagram at James Porto, you can get them all. There's a bunch of them on there.
And also I have to say that the second time that you play it, it plays better because somehow it loads the video better.
Yeah. So sorry,
yeah.
it didn't really come through the way it should have. So you're not really getting the experience. But
I want to say also that it might be better if you use Chrome instead of Safari.
Chrome. I asked a question.
Yes.
What we just saw, was that fractal art?
yes.
Okay.
That was a 3D that comes from a program called Mandelbulb 3D.
Oh.
And Mandelbulb 3D they've taken the Mandelbrot set and they've, which is a 2D surface, it's X and Y. And then they added a Z depth. They basically made a 3-dimensional form of the Mandelbrot set. And then you can change the parameters to change the shapes. And it's basically an infinite landscape you can explore. But like I said before, it's much harder to do something pre-visualized. It's more like you look around and see what the program gives you. So, but incredible.
Very exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm thrilled.
So James, what transitioned you from photography into the fractal videos?
Well, I did photography to make a living. I was doing mostly commercial photography to make a living, but I was doing my fine artwork on the side, which was very visionary. I was doing a lot of mythical winged female figures, and just for my own work. But basically, I got to a point after 45 years where I just couldn't think of anything else to do with photography. And then I had this kind of deep visionary experience where I saw things internally that I was no way I was able to create with a camera. And then I started to seek, how can I bring those visions out of my head and make them real? And it led me to enroll in computer arts, an MFA in computer arts at the School of Visual Arts in New York at 58. And I graduated 2020. And now I'm a professor at RIT teaching photography, but I'm also trying to show the students about these other media. But for me, the long story short, I got bored with, I just ran out of ideas for photography. And now I have a whole new landscape to play in, so.
James, in seeing the wall hangings behind you, I can see where your imagination and your vision stems from. Lots to express in the future.
Thank you so much. I do feel it's at the beginning. I really do. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And may I say, I love your work, Martina.
Oh, thank you.
I've been looking at it for years. I'm on your mailing list. And I love your paintings.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions? I haven't seen any more come in through the chat. If anyone else wants to raise their hand or just unmute.
Oh gosh, it all went by so quickly. I could have just asked questions as each picture was going by. There's so many wonderful images to look at and so many questions that pop up when you look at it, but I'd almost have to go through the exhibit again.
Oh, you can.
And I will, yeah.
Hello, this is, can you hear me?
Yes, Robert.
That's Robert. Yeah, it's been a great experience, and Bridget Marlin's presentation was very special. And I would like to know if I could get a copy of Shelley Irish's poem.
Shelley?
Sure. Would you like to send me your email in the chat and I'll send it to you?
Okay, how do I do that? I told you I'm done with
I can hook you both up.
that. Okay.
Right here. And mine is on the bottom of the screen. The
What am I
chat.
doing?
You might see something that says chat and then a little word bubble.
Yes, on the bottom of the screen, you can just click chat.
Click chat, I got it.
And then there's an area where you can type in, it's to everyone, or you can pick the person you want to share just that email with, or if you want to share your email with all of us, please do. And then,
Okay, I guess I can just type there. Let me see.
yeah, you can type that in. And then
Oh, right here.
we got
It's
another
Robert, thank
question.
Okay, got it.
And then Fran, we had another question if you could please post on the chat, the address that people need to use to be able to see the exhibit again.
Oh, yes.
That would be great.
But you would have to, so you still have to search because I don't have the link.
Right here.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. What is
All right.
it?
Any other questions?
Okay. Right here.
Great comments. I'm glad everyone enjoyed the show. You can search for the link through Portal. Through Matrix.
So tonight I will publish this exhibition and that's when you will be able to view it publicly and anyone can go there.
Yes.
It's not exclusive to AOI.
Wonderful.
And I imagine we all have your email address because you've been sending us messages.
Yes, I have a mountain of emails.
Yes.
So are we good? Are there any?
Al, are you raising your hand? Did you want to ask a question?
I have a comment,
Yes.
which is that the chat room disappears unless you save it. So if you want to save what's on the chat room, somebody needs to save it.
Correct.
I don't know how to do that. And I've been in other groups where they want to see the chat room and they can't because it's too late.
There is a tree continue on the bottom of the chat window where you can save it. It says, if you put the mouse there, save chat. Yeah.
All right. We're at the bottom, save chat.
Yeah, at the bottom next to there is like a paper little face and then those.
Save chat.
more.
Thank you. Thank you. I never knew how to do that. You are a genius.
I just discovered it.
What about this record button? Should I have been recording or could I have been recording as we went along?
No, you couldn't record the video or the presentation, but you can just save the chat if you wanted to. And then Dell, you have a hand up. I don't know if that's a mistake or if you have a question.
I just wanted to say, can you hear me?
Yes.
I want to say thank you everyone for this wonderful show. I was just thrilled to tune in from Mexico. I'm doing work in Mexico right now on AR of my work, and it's just great to be here, and I love to see all the work. It's very encouraging, and thank you so much.
Well, thanks for finding a way to join us.
And this is Della Burford. So I know that in the screen says Dale, your husband name, right, Della? Yeah. So
I'm using
for any confusion.
I'm using his computer right now. I'm Della Burford. Thank you.
Well, I don't see any other questions. Anyone else want to ask a question? No?
Is everybody busy working right now?
Well,
On new things?
I wanted to say thank you to everyone. This is a spectacular exhibition. You were all very kind to bear with us. We had some glitches, but we appreciate your presence and your incredible work. Thank you.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
putting
you
this
for all the
together.
work you put in.
You're very
you.
welcome.
Thanks for
Brilliant.
inviting me, Breck.
You're welcome.
Brilliant.
That was great. Really enjoyed it.
Congratulations, everyone. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Inspired.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you to all the speakers. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And Fran, you're now host, and so you'll have to stop the recording or you make me host.
All right. Thanks so much, Kate. We couldn't do it without you.
I'm glad it worked out so well.
It did. Thank you to everyone.